Hey everyone, welcome back to The Real 411. I'm Dr. 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 McGee, and wow, what a week. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is where we cut through the noise and get into what's really going on. Because, let's be honest, the story is never just a headline. Today, we're diving into a summit that went sideways and a world that feels like it's on fire, sometimes literally. We're talking about the G7, which was supposed to be about global unity. Instead, it's unraveling in real time. We've got violence in Tehran, Trump's abrupt walkout from Canada, and global instability that's got even seasoned diplomats scrambling. You'll hear what it's like on the ground in Iran, and we'll break down how world leaders are trying and mostly failing to manage the chaos. This isn't just about diplomacy anymore. It's disaster control. Let's get into it. Let's start in Tehran. If you've seen the footage, you know it's not just headlines. It's explosions, mass evacuations, and a city in panic. Israeli strikes hit the capital, and within minutes, the U.S. was telling everyone to evacuate. How do you evacuate a city of 10 million? That's not a rhetorical question. People in Tehran are literally asking that in group chats right now. I got a message from a colleague, a doctor in Tehran. She said, 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭, the roads are blocked, people are exhausted, and no one slept in days. We're just stuck. She told me about families spending 14 hours in traffic for a drive that should take 3. And that's if you're lucky. Others are sitting in their apartments, listening to sirens, watching live TV as the studio gets hit by a missile. It's chaos. The U.S. and Israeli governments are issuing evacuation warnings, but it's not clear what people are supposed to do. There's fear, confusion, no sense of control. And as a doctor, I can't help but think about the health impact. No sleep, no access to care, just endless stress. It's a nightmare. And this isn't just military targets. Iranian state media says over 200 people have been killed since Friday. In Israel, the numbers are lower, but the fear is just as real. Sirens, bomb shelters, people getting hurt just trying to get to safety. I always say the human cost gets lost in the headlines, but it's right there every single day for millions of people. Meanwhile, the G7 summit in Canada was supposed to be about global unity. Instead, it turned into a scramble.
With some breaking news from the White House. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt confirming that President Trump is coming back tonight from the G7 summit in Canada, citing the conflict in the Middle East as the reason. For more on this, I want to go back to Gabe Gutierrez. Gabe, update us with your new reporting.
Hi there, Tom. Well, a lot of fast-moving developments here, as you mentioned. Just a few minutes ago, actually, a few moments after we last spoke with you, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt announcing that the president was suddenly leaving back to Washington. Now, he is expected to go to 2 more events later on today. A group photo, it's known as a family photo with other world leaders here at the G7 summit in Canada. And then he's expected to head to a dinner. After that, we do expect him in Washington. Now, we're still working to try and find out exactly what led to this. But a short time before the announcement was made, President Trump posted on social media, speaking about the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran, saying Iran should have signed the deal I had told them to sign, the president wrote. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. And then he said, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Certainly, Tom, a lot of questions there, knowing that Tehran is a city of about 10 million people. We're going to get more information from the White House about what exactly he meant by that. But we're also getting new wire reports that say from the French President Macron saying Americans have made an offer to meet with the Iranians. Now we will see what happens. So certainly, again, fast-moving developments here, some possible diplomacy underway regarding the escalated conflict between Israel and Iran.
Trump cut his trip short, literally left after dinner because of the Middle East crisis. Macron tried to keep diplomacy alive, but let's be real, the whole thing was off the rails. Trade talks stalled. Ukraine diplomacy barely a blip. Leaders were paralyzed, trying to respond to multiple emergencies at once. These summits are supposed to be where big decisions get made, but when the world's on fire, everyone's just trying to keep up. Trump's America First approach really showed here. He told everyone to evacuate Tehran, then left the summit. His team was left to pick up the pieces. There was a joint statement about de-escalation in the Middle East, but it was vague. On Ukraine, no real progress. Zelensky left without a Trump meeting, no new arms support. When the most powerful person in the room walks out, what are the rest supposed to do? The paralysis was real. What does this say about Western unity? If the G7 can't function in a crisis, what's the point? These summits are supposed to mean collective action. But when push comes to shove, it's every country for itself. That's a dangerous place to be. Here's where it gets more complicated. The G7's caution, some would say fear of upsetting Trump, is fracturing alliances, and it's empowering authoritarianism. There's the reluctance to call out bad actors, Russia or otherwise, because no one wants to rock the boat. Remember, Russia got kicked out of the G8 for annexing Crimea. Now, Trump says that was a big mistake. That's not just a throwaway line. It signals a shift in how the West deals with aggression. And then there's Stephen Crowchild, an indigenous leader who greeted world leaders at the summit. He said he was filled with rage before meeting Trump, but he stayed. He prayed and he spoke up for peace and clean water. That took guts. It's a reminder. Sometimes you have to speak up, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. I think that in my own activism, fighting for patience, calling out injustice, silence has a price. When leaders stay quiet to avoid conflict, the worst actors get to set the rules. And this isn't just about the G7. It's about the whole idea of a rules-based order. If the people in charge won't defend the rules, who will? We've seen this before. When leaders are paralyzed by fear or self-interest, democracy and human rights pay the price. If you don't speak up, you're complicit. Whether you're a world leader or someone trying to do the right thing in your own community. All right, if this breakdown helped you see the bigger picture, do me a favor, like, comment, share this episode. Want more behind the scenes context? Subscribe to the Substack for weekly deep dives. And follow The Real 411 on Spotify and Apple so you're always one step ahead of the headlines. Hit that bell so you never miss an episode. We'll be back soon because the story is never just a headline. Stay curious, stay critical, and I'll catch you next time.